The story opens with a young woman named Joey, who feels incredibly excited because she's about to reunite with her romantic partner after being separated for 12 months. Her beloved had traveled to Canada for work-related duties and was finally returning home after completing his assignment. Joey's mother hands her car keys so she can drive to meet him. We learn that Joey cannot speak or hear. She communicates without words. Her mother warns her that the route she's taking passes through dangerous territory and advises her to be extremely careful. Joey reassures her mother through gestures that she'll be fine and will reach her destination safely. Setting off in the vehicle, Joey feels thrilled about seeing her partner again. During her journey, she spots a small store along the roadside and decides to stop. This shop belongs to an elderly gentleman who creates and sells handcrafted items. Joey purchases some presents for her boyfriend from this craftsman. Afterward, she climbs onto her car's roof to take a photograph of herself, which she sends to her partner to show her location and let him know she's on her way. Seeing his girlfriend's picture makes Dean extremely happy and eager for their reunion. Continuing her travels, Joey becomes distracted by her mobile device while driving. This momentary lack of attention causes her to nearly hit a wounded man who stumbles into her path. She quickly applies the brakes, causing her vehicle to swerve before coming to a stop, but manages to avoid striking the injured person. However, when Joey looks outside, she sees the man collapse to the ground. As she considers helping him, she notices another man being chased by several gang members. The fleeing person trips and falls, and the pursuing criminals drive their vehicle over him, crushing him brutally. This horrifying sight leaves Joey breathless with terror. Embers then begin approaching her location. Despite having the opportunity to start her car and escape, Joey chooses not to abandon the wounded man lying on the road. She quickly exits her vehicle and helps the injured person into her car, but before she can drive away, the gang catches up to them. The criminals seize Joey and begin tormenting her. In front of her eyes, they brutally murder the wounded man she tried to save. Witnessing this violence, Joey becomes paralyzed with fear and attempts to flee. However, the gang's leader, whose name is Trey, aims his weapon at her and shoots her in the leg to prevent her escape. The bullet wound causes Joey to fall, and the gang members drag her to their hideout. At their base, the criminals tie Joey to a bed using barbed wire, which cuts into her flesh. They subject her to severe physical abuse while she writhes in agony. Meanwhile, Joey's boyfriend becomes worried when she doesn't arrive as expected and stops responding to his messages. He notices the last photograph she sent, which shows a sign in the background that reveals her final known location. He immediately contacts the police and provides them with this information, pleading with them to search for Joey. The gang continues their brutal treatment of Joey, causing her immense suffering. Trey tells her that she's not the first woman they've tortured and killed in this manner. They've murdered many others before her. He boasts that they control the entire region and reveals that he's the descendant of a military officer who eliminated an Apache tribe. Opening a cabinet, he shows Joey human skulls that belonged to Apache tribe members, which his grandfather collected during the war. He specifically points out the skull of the Apache tribe's chief, explaining how his ancestor mercilessly wiped out the entire tribe and kept their heads as trophies. After learning that Joey cannot speak, one gang member suggests they should end her suffering quickly. However, Trey wants to continue torturing her and proposes a card game to decide her fate. If he wins, he can do whatever he wants with her. But if his companion wins, they'll kill her immediately. While they play their game, Joey overhears their conversation and realizes that regardless of the outcome, she will die. She decides to attempt an escape while they're distracted. Managing to free herself from the barbed wire restraints, Joey tries to sneak away from the hideout. Trey's friend wins the card game and goes to kill Joey with a knife, only to discover she has escaped. He spots her in the distance and catches her, stabbing her multiple times until she dies. The next day, the elderly shopkeeper walks through the area with his dog, which leads him to a buried body. When he unearths it, he recognizes Joey as the young woman who purchased items from his store. The old man brings Joey's corpse to his home and creates a medicinal mixture from various herbs, applying it to her wounds. We learn that this elderly person belongs to the same Apache tribe that was massacred. Through mystical chance, he understands the brutal nature of Joey's death and decides to perform black magic to restore life to her body. Using ancient rituals and incantations, he attempts to bring her soul back from the dead. Joey's body suddenly rises into the air as a spirit enters it, but her appearance becomes terrifying. Her eyes turn completely black, and she attacks the old man. He quickly throws something at her that renders her unconscious. Meanwhile, Joey's boyfriend decides to search for her personally, and stops at a hotel in the area where she disappeared. When Joey regains consciousness, she finds herself in a city area and discovers a public telephone. She calls her boyfriend to tell him she's alive and well. Because of the spirit that entered her body, Joey can now speak, which amazes her boyfriend, who couldn't believe his ears. The call gets disconnected, but he traces the phone's location and heads there immediately. At the same location, Joey encounters a police officer and approaches him for help, only to realize he's actually one of the gang members. This discovery fills her with rage, and her true revenge begins. Joey follows the corrupt police officer to a nightclub and confronts him. When the gang member sees her, he becomes terrified, unable to believe that the woman they killed has returned to life. Joey's eyes turn black again, indicating that an evil spirit has possessed her. The gang member attacks her, but Joey is no longer the helpless woman from before. She brutally beats him and then uses a glass bottle to cut open his stomach, removing his internal organs and killing him. When the club owner tries to shoot her, Joey knocks him unconscious with a chair. Joey's boyfriend arrives at the public phone location and finds police investigating a murder. He asks about Joey, and the officers tell him a police officer was killed there, but the woman he's looking for isn't present. Trey and his gang also arrive at the scene, and when they see their dead companion, they become furious. Joey's boyfriend shows them Joey's photograph, asking if they've seen her. Recognizing the photo, Trey tells his men to make the boyfriend leave before he gets hurt too. Trey approaches the boyfriend and tells him he's wasting his time searching for the girl because she's gone elsewhere, meaning they killed her. The boyfriend doesn't understand and explains that Joey called him from this exact location just an hour ago. This news shocks the entire gang, as they realize Joey has somehow returned from the dead. Joey awakens in a wooden house where a room door opens by itself. Inside, she finds various weapons and tools, taking a bow and arrows before leaving. The gang members initially refuse to believe Joey has come back to life, but they visit the burial site to confirm their suspicions. Finding her grave empty, they panic and accept that she has indeed returned. One member who killed Joey still refuses to believe it's possible, suggesting wild animals might have taken the body. Fear grips their hearts, and Trey suggests they should leave the area for a few days to avoid being caught. However, as one gang member tries to leave, he discovers someone has shot arrows into his car tires. Terrified, he calls his friends to report that Joey might be nearby. Joey then appears and shoots an arrow into his leg, causing him to fall. She continues shooting arrows at him until he dies, then disappears. When his companions arrive, they find another member dead, increasing their anger and fear. The elderly shopkeeper explains to Joey that when he found her body, it was without a soul. She was truly dead. Through his ritual, he brought her soul back, but simultaneously, another spirit entered her body. That of the Apache tribe's leader who has been burning with the desire for revenge for years. This spirit will only find peace after eliminating the entire family of the American colonel who destroyed his people. The Apache leader chose Joey's body because they share the same enemy. Understanding that Joey won't spare them, Trey devises a plan to kidnap her boyfriend and use him as bait to trap and kill her. They capture Dean while he's mourning Joey's absence. However, as they drive away with their hostage, Joey appears and shoots an arrow into one gang member's neck, severely injuring him. Trey and the remaining member flee, while Joey climbs onto their moving vehicle. A fierce battle ensues between Joey and the gang member who killed her. Despite being stabbed multiple times, Joey shows no signs of injury, which terrifies her attacker. When Trey suddenly breaks, Joey falls to the ground, and he repeatedly drives over her body. However, this has no effect on her supernatural form. Realizing she cannot be killed conventionally, Trey speeds away to their hideout. At their base, the injured gang member suffers from the arrow wound, but they refuse to take him to a hospital for fear of revealing their location. The wounded man describes Joey's black eyes and supernatural appearance, confirming Trey's suspicions that the elderly Apache tribesman performed the resurrection ritual. Trey hires additional security guards with weapons, knowing Joey will come for him. Joey tends to her decaying body by taping the pieces together. The Apache leader's spirit appears before her, giving her 2 traditional weapons used in their ancient battles. That night, the injured gang member attempts to sneak away to a hospital, but Joey intercepts him on the road. She throws a spear that pierces his stomach, causing his car to crash and killing him. Trey begins telling Joey's boyfriend about the terrible things they did to his girlfriend, making Dean cry with grief over the torture she endured. When Trey realizes Joey has reached their location, he alerts his hired guards. However, Joey systematically kills them one by one. When Trey searches for his friend, he discovers Joey has murdered him too, and presents Trey with his friend's heart, the same person who stabbed Joey to death. She eats the heart in front of Trey, terrifying him so much that he flees outside. Outside, Trey encounters a police officer, who tells him to stay put, and promises to handle the situation. However, Trey shoots the officer and runs away. Joey then reunites with her boyfriend, who cries upon seeing her. He begs her to stay with him, but Joey has limited time and must complete her revenge, so she leaves him behind. Trey confronts the elderly shopkeeper at gunpoint, demanding to know how Joey returned to life. The old man explains everything and warns Trey that the Apache leader's spirit possessing Joey will only rest after eliminating his entire family. Desperate to survive, Trey asks how to break the curse. The elderly man tells him he must burn all the Apache tribe's skulls to free their spirits from Joey's body. Police arrive at the scene where Trey killed the officer and find Joey's boyfriend tied up inside the building. After freeing him, Dean explains the entire situation to the authorities. Meanwhile, Joey reaches Trey's house and kills his family members, as the Apache spirit seeks to eliminate the colonel's entire bloodline. Following the old man's advice, Trey gathers all the Apache skulls and prepares to burn them in a pit. However, he notices one skull is missing, that of the tribe's chief. Joey arrives carrying the leader's skull, terrifying Trey. Armed with a chainsaw, he attempts to fight her in a final desperate battle. During their intense confrontation, Joey cuts off one of Trey's hands, while he manages to slice her body in half with the chainsaw. However, her supernatural state makes her immune to physical damage. Joey continues her assault until she cuts Trey's throat, finally killing him. With Trey's death, both Joey and the Apache leader's spirit achieve their long-awaited revenge. Shortly after, Joey's boyfriend arrives at the scene, having been summoned by the elderly tribesman. He finds Joey's body cut in half near the burial site. Expressing his love for her one final time, Dean burns Joey's remains. This act brings peace to both Joey's soul and the Apache leader's spirit, as their mission of vengeance has been completed. Dean, who had been unaware of the supernatural events surrounding Joey's return, receives a complete explanation from the elderly shopkeeper. The old man tells him everything that happened to Joey, why she was killed, and how she managed to return from death to exact her revenge on those who wronged her. With their justice served and their spirits finally at rest, the story concludes with both Joey and the Apache leader finding eternal peace. This tale serves as a powerful story about justice beyond death, the strength of love that transcends mortality, and the ancient belief that some wrongs are so terrible that even death cannot prevent their correction. The supernatural elements blend with themes of historical injustice and personal vengeance, creating a haunting narrative about the price of cruelty and the inevitability of retribution.